It's the Paris Chong Show. It's the Paris Chong Show, show. It's the Paris Chong Show. Okay, hi. Hello. I'm Paris Chong, and you are watching and listening, and hopefully watching and listening, The Paris Chong Show. I'm here today with my friend and somebody that I really respect as a talent and artist, Mr. Bil Brown.
Hi.
Did you know that we were having someone come in here today to cut your hair?
Oh,
live?
that's great.
Did you know that?
Fantastic. I didn't know that.
Oh, Emma, you didn't tell him? That's the surprise today.
Oh, great.
Are you okay with that? We're going to give
I
you
really
a bob.
don't care. It's just, since I'm not working with like models as much, I don't have to tell them where to put their hair.
Yeah, no, I actually like your hair. I was
Yeah.
noticing how long it got, so I thought that
It's
I'd say
gotten
that because I
horribly
think it's
long.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
What would you do if we had a hairdresser here to cut your hair and do a
I
bob?
would.
Would you leave?
No, I would be blessed.
You-
Except, what is that quote from Jim Morrison? It's like some of the worst things in my life have been haircuts.
Oh
You know, it's
gosh.
like the last time I cut my hair was literally the pandemic.
Really?
And yeah.
Do you ever do man buns? Good.
No. I don't even tie my hair back
You're
anymore.
not a man bun guy?
No.
Yeah, I don't
No.
know if I like man buns.
I
I
don't
think
know
they
if I
went
do
out,
either.
right? They're out now?
Let's hope.
Okay.
It's like, let's hope.
I was just reminding Bill earlier today that I met him years before I met him at Leica. And my memory is not as great as it used to be, but I don't remember where it was. But I was working with my friend Jared at some convention in Las Vegas for some kind of alcohol situation she was hired to do. She's now a master sommelier, but this is back in the day when it was like the not the fine champagne. It was some other gig. But I met you and I invited you to come to to this event, and that's how I met you.
Yes.
But the weirdest thing about that is I didn't even remember that till years after I met you at Leica. I'm like, wait a second, Bil Brown, Black Gray Magazine. I know I met him before here.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
I
old
think
friends.
I think we've figured that out. It was when I was doing the magazine between 2008 and 2015.
Which is a cool magazine.
Yeah, it's
Black and Gray
coming out again.
I know. I'm very excited to
Yeah.
hear about this. You know, I had dinner after the artist talk with Matt Mercury,
Okay.
who's gonna be helping you facilitate that.
He's going to associate publisher, associate producer, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, I said I want to do a letter from the curator and feature an artist whenever you want me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I invited myself to be in your
No,
magazine.
that's perfectly
Is that
fine.
horrible?
No, because I wanted to do profiles. We were definitely going to have. Well, it started off as. Not all photographers, in fact, probably most, come from money. So you have to figure out how to make a living.
Did you say not all but most?
But probably not all, but most do not come from money.
Correcto.
Okay. So we have to figure out ways of making a living.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I went through a divorce and I had 2 young children that I had most of the time. And I needed to figure out a way to utilize everything that I was to make something that would A, pay our bills, and B, make sure that I was artistically or whateverly inclined.
Mm-hmm.
When after the divorce, I was hired by a modeling agency to be their digital guy. So my background before that was I was an art director for advertising, and then I became a publicist for comedians. So the first time I met Jeff Garland
Yeah.
was he was like, "I know who you are." The other day, he was like, "I know who you are." It's like, "Yeah, you're following me on my my Substack," and he's like, "No, I remember you from Tom Sobel," and I was like, the booker that I was working as
That's wild.
a publicist for, and he's like, "Yeah, you put one of my jokes in the newspaper," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh, that's really cool. How long ago was that?
probably 15."
See, he remembers how you guys met, and I
Yeah.
can't remember how we met, but I know I met you, and you
Yeah.
came to this thing. Okay, well, that's really cool. And then he
Weird,
came up
right?
to you. I love it.
Yeah. And then we talked about other things, but my I have an MFA in poetry.
I love that.
So And funny enough, avant-garde poetry. So I went to a school called Naropa University, which is a Buddhist college in Colorado. The school within the school was called the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics. No shit, that's
Is
what
it
it was
still there?
called. It is still there.
I like it.
It's supposed to have a 100-year tradition. It was founded by, well, the founder of the school is this Tibetan monk named Chogyam Trungpa, who also founded the Shambhala program. A lot of people that know Buddhism would know that program. It's like the peaceful warrior, the
Yeah.
warrior ethos, whatever. But it's also his tradition was crazy wisdom tradition, which is the artistic tradition in Buddhism. And so they in Hinayana and Mahayana Buddhism, there's a path that needs called right speech, and there's also right sight.
Mhm.
Vipassana is right sight. Um, anyway, so right speech, they needed poets because he's like, well, if I'm going to have a school, I need to have people. So he invited people that were interested in Buddhism at the time, which was Allen Ginsberg,
Mhm.
a lot of the beats, and they named it the Kerouac School because Kerouac had just died a few years before. This was started in '74. I got there in the '90s.
Mhm.
In fact, the first Leica I ever saw around someone's neck was Allen Ginsberg's big lettered M6, which was only made evidently, I found out later, from 1987 and '88. And then they didn't do another big lettered M until the M7, which I
Okay.
had for a long time until a couple weeks ago. And so then, well, anyway, so I got this degree in poetry, and I was at NYU doing a beat conference. They filmed
Gotcha.
me, and they filmed Alan. They filmed Alan
Mhm.
shooting with his M6, and then the cut in the film is Alan shooting with his M6, and then right afterwards, it says, I'm there, 24 years old, going, it's continuing a tradition. It's continuing a tradition and finding your antecedents. You must look back before you can look forward. Okay. So fast forward a few years, I worked for this modeling agency, became a photographer by accident.
Mhm.
I'd been shooting for years. Alan actually introduced me to Robert Frank,
Mm.
um, who was one of his best friends, right? I mean, it's like, because Robert Frank was, kind of in that beat generation
Mhm.
thing. In fact, I only knew him as a filmmaker because he did a movie called Pull My Daisy that Jack Kerouac had written the voiceover for, and it was just in somebody's apartment in the Lower East Side, and it was Alan and
How
Gregory
amazing you
Corso
got
and all
to
this
meet
other
him.
stuff. Yeah, so I got to meet him. That was '94, and then years later, it kind of came into another kind of thing because I was looking at the Ginsberg archive, and my friend runs it. This guy named well, anyway, Peter Hale, yes, Peter Hale runs it, and I was like, well, Ginsberg was a photographer, so let's like focus on some of his photography. I'm really interested in his India stuff,
Mhm.
and all of this stuff is up at Stanford. So Ginsberg had sold his entire estate except for his camera, and I'll talk about that in a second, to Stanford University. So I had to go up to Stanford. I was from here, go up to Stanford, go into their archives with with my Leica and take pictures of his journals.
Oh, wow.
And then we put the India journals in there, and then we had the photographs that they still had rights to. And it was great. It was really interesting. But then I wanted a sidebar on Leica. So I had contacted, first I had contacted the store. No, first I'd contacted the store.
Mhm.
They gave me, I think it was Kieran or somebody else's number, Roland maybe,
Mhm.
whoever it was at the time, and then they gave me a bunch of technical information, and then they started like kind of throwing things at me. Well, I'd been shooting since that agency thing. I'd been shooting a lot of fashion stuff, so I was really interested in the medium format S.
Mhm.
And finally, I got one in 2017, but that was after. The funny thing is that even though going through all of that, like still didn't really pay as much attention to me except for Wetzlar.
Mhm.
So LFI grabbed me first. You grabbed me second,
Yeah.
and
Usually I'm first.
usually first, but they grabbed me from online, and then I did things with S Magazine, and I did some other
That's cool, though. I
things.
know
Yeah,
that matters if Wetzlar notice it,
yeah.
so.
And in fact, they contacted me. I was in one of the M campaigns. There was like the
Mhm.
one that but I'm always grateful because I'm like, I don't ask. I
Yeah.
don't ask for anything. I've never asked for any equipment. I've never,
Yeah.
I've always paid for everything that I have.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's fine with me. It's like,
But you have
the-
to be really super wealthy before you get gifts like that. It's
well, not only
weird.
that,
It's like it's weird like that people get the expensive things when they can buy them, but that's okay,
well,
I
I
guess.
could. And the reason that I could was because of the magazine, and the reason that I could because of the magazine was it brought me into a thing to where I became an agent for 15 years.
Right.
So I was an agent for stylists and photographers in Digitex, and my major client was, and I can say this, can I? I can say who they
Yes, you can
were.
say whatever you want on
Okay.
the Paris Charm Show. You
So
can
my
even
major
cuss if you
client,
want to.
okay, my major client was Amazon.
Okay.
Okay.
What is
And
that a dirty word?
it might be in a second.
Uh-oh.
So my major client was Amazon for 15 years, and I started off in
Love Amazon.
their love them too. So started off with their photo studios for Amazon Fashion,
Mhm.
and I at one point had over 600 photographers, stylists, and Digitex hired for Amazon Fashion across 10 different studios in 5 or 6 different states.
Mhm.
Starting off in Kentucky, where I'm from, Southern Indiana, um, New York.
You know, Karen Ballard's also from Kentucky. Did
Oh,
you know
wow.
that? Yeah, she's there
I
for her
didn't know that.
birthday. Yeah, Karen's from Kentucky. You need to have a
Wow.
Kentucky
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
And also, just throw quickly before Amazon. Hello, when they start locking up the toothpaste and deodorant, aren't you happy for Amazon?
I am.
I mean,
I
who has
am.
time to wait for
I
someone to
am.
give you toothpaste?
I'm very happy for them for what they do well. What they
Hmm.
don't do well is so over the last few years since the pandemic, they shuttered a bunch of their studios. I found out later that they were actually also using uh, my talent to train their AI.
You're kidding.
And so then when it came down to only having a 3D studio and video editors, and all the other 10 studios were gone, and either people were hired on or they had already trained the AI, then they turned around and they asked me for what they called a collab agreement. And I was like, well, what is a collab agreement? And it's like, well, a collab agreement is you pay me to hire your talent. And I was like, Not going to do that.
That doesn't even make any
It
sense.
makes no sense whatsoever. And this has been kind of a consistent thing with the
So, do they owe you
management.
money?
No,
Do
no,
they owe you anything?
we made it even.
You really did? Do you
Yeah,
get free toothpaste for the rest of your life?
I don't,
You
unfortunately.
should have worked that out.
Yeah, I should have.
That you
But
should or whatever it
anyway,
is you want, dog treats, I don't know.
so
I spend a
but I
lot of
think
money on dog
but
treats.
I don't think that they're alone. And
Mhm.
I think that there's a lot of other companies that are doing similar things.
Well, that's
So
just scandalous.
my next step and my next thought is that in working even harder with um, Leica, as well as other photographers and community
Mhm.
events and
Yeah.
things like that. When I was back at the Kerouac School, I took a vow of poetry.
I
Yeah,
know, and I can't I'm gonna make you you're gonna have to say one of your favorite poems now,
I will. Yeah, yes.
okay?
Um, but now I'm taking a
After
vow.
the guy cuts your hair.
Yes.
We're
Now I'm
very sweet.
taking a vow of photography, which
Okay.
that means that the vow is similar to the Bodhisattva vow in Buddhism, which is a saintly vow,
Okay, you're gonna
which
take a vow
is
to photography?
which is the Bodhisattva vow in Sanskrit is gate gate perigate perisam gate bodhisattva, which means
Got that?
nothing, nothing, absolutely nothing, blessed saint.
Okay.
So everything, so
I knew that.
which means that you have to make sure that uh, the other part of it is that you make sure that you will not attain enlightenment until every sentient being on the planet attains enlightenment generation after
Okay.
generation, blah blah blah, whatever.
Did you tell Amazon
You
that?
will come back. I will.
You need to. Send them a
Um,
letter.
the vow of poetry is that I will make the world safe for poetry, and now my vow of photography is I will make the world safe for photography, because if we have AI replacing not only the commercial world, which I think is
It's
inevitable,
bad, right?
I think that if it starts to replace, which is why I'm wearing a M11-P around my neck, is because of the content
I
credentials.
thought you just wanted to show off.
I could have been that
No?
too. But, the content credentials is important because I think that it shows that, like, we have this thing that can then prove that you took the photo, when the photo was
I
taken,
know, but
where it
isn't it
was.
horrible what's happening to Nick?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's horrific. I don't even I'm like the biggest fan of this guy. That is so
What
horrible. How could
he
that have gone on that long?
what he's essentially been artistically Me Too'd, right?
I can't it's
And, like, the other people that were there, and now I guess it's the what is it now? I guess it's the World Press Photo
mhm.
saying that, like, there's no attribution to that photo. Even though he's not only won awards and, recognition, and it's one of the most iconic photos of the 20th century, but he also had a presidential medal. I mean,
I
even if
know
you don't
what.
like the president that he got it from, which I don't, the fact that he got one is pretty
And
impressive.
they're saying it was not a Leica.
Uh,
I know that's a good answer. We're gonna
uh,
end with that.
I don't know how could they even tell?
I don't know.
There's no way,
I don't know how this could possibly have gone on that long if he did not take the photo. I don't I think he took the photo.
I mean, and this is just because of a documentary. So the same thing happened to Magnum not too long ago, right? So
Mhm.
Magnum started to put their
Which I
entire
think you should belong to,
I
if
was told by
anybody.
a very high-ranking member that that would never happen. So, yeah.
That's kind of a rude thing for somebody to say.
Well, it was definitely very rude for that person that is sometimes rude but honest to say. And I understood what they were saying, and I understood why.
Whoever that is mean-spirited.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I think
no.
that
Do I know this person?
but I
Do
do
I know this
understand.
person?
Yes.
Oh, you son
But the thing is that I understand why, because right now it is not important for someone that presents himself as a white guy, white male guy, no matter what your talent base is.
yeah.
And let's to be in that as like you should there are so many photographers around the world, and I am perfectly willing to give up my spot in whatever limelight for someone that is a person of color,
Isn't it terrible? It's the
female
worst
or
time in the
female
whole world to be a
presenting.
white guy. Did you ever think you'd live to hear that?
I I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my great grandfather was a Cherokee,
Yeah.
um, and he walked the Trail of Tears. And my grandfather didn't tell anyone in our family that we were Cherokee, even though his
You
sister
probably
was.
own land somewhere.
Yeah, his sister died and was registered with the Cherokee Nation, but she died young, and she was registered so that they could get a plot of land to bury her. And he never told anyone because he didn't want to be called a savage. He didn't want any of us to be called a savage. But you can see in my family
Now it's a
history,
compliment to be called a savage.
and another thing too is my last name is Brown, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. And Brown in Louisville, Kentucky means Brown Foreman, tobacco, Brown Williamson, alcohol, which owns Jack Daniels,
Mhm.
right? For years, for decades, I would be at cultural situations, and because I was an artist of some sort or in some sort of thing, or a poet or a photographer or whatever, everyone thought, you must be a Brown, right? And I always said, nope, nope, but I got a lot of information.
You say, "No, I'm a Bill Brown."
My brother passed away, and I found out that the last name is a Brown, that the family that abandoned my mother
Oh god.
with 5 children is worth $18.6 billion. And they're liberal, and they have museums, and they have, I mean, a museum hotel, they have cultural significance, but they decided that my mother wasn't good enough. So my father wasn't a Brown, but his name is on my birth certificate.
Yeah.
My father was, some Irish punk that
Did you know your father
I
well?
didn't.
No.
I
No.
didn't. I
Oh,
was raised by
no?
my grandparents. They were born in 1900 and
Mm.
1904. So they were around during the Great Depression.
That's why you're
So
such a good dad. It's usually guys
maybe,
that have these kind of parents like that that turn into be the best fathers. I've
maybe so.
noticed that.
Maybe so.
And you're such a great dad. And by the way, I love your bracelet
Thank you. That's the
that
owner who
says
made that for me.
daddy.
Ona made it for
That's
me.
so
Some
cute.
in some of my, work
Good job,
situations, the daddy
Ona.
doesn't,
Daddy's good. Daddy's a good that's really
Yes.
cute. I love it. And so, okay, so what poem are you sharing with us from the school of what?
From the Kerouac School.
No, but what was the whole name of the Kerouac
The
School?
Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, let me see what I can do. Um,
The Bill Brown poem.
all right. Let's see. I have one. I won't do the full performance of it because it's a little crazy. So I would first have to start speaking in tongues.
Really? Is
It's
this your favorite party
it's my
favor?
party trick.
Yeah, okay.
I was also raised like charismatic Christian, so it's like,
Another bad Christian. Well,
so
I'm a
it's like
bad
you can go
Catholic. Oh, wow.
whatever
Spooky.
kind of like stuff, right?
Okay.
So I don't want to do that. But I would read the poem part.
Okay.
Damballa. Snakes visiting congregation tents in April rain. Louisiana visits New Orleans. An old minister faith and fear. Rise of the right on pulpit, Graham visiting Earl, swaggart in the walk, rise of the right hand. Trees and groves, tented so not to see, Sisyphus and Menaids, rite of spring. But my mama, she taught the maypole, and her 70th year taught me inside to be inside. Rooms for coffins to wait and carry the box out. And then you go back into the.
That's really cool, Bill.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you were a poet. How
yeah.
did I not know that?
I don't know. I
Did
did.
you did you see the poet Hossein Manowar ever at any of the events? Oh God, you got to meet Hossein, and I actually have a book for you from him. He's incredible. He opened up at the Celebration Photography last year
Oh
at
wow.
Wetzlar.
Oh wow.
I called Karen Kaufman. I'm like, Karen, do you like poets? And she's like, I love poetry. So he was the entertainment. He's quite incredible. He'll be
Wow.
out here soon. I'll have to introduce you to.
Wow. Yeah, I think
That
that
was really good.
I think that, photography and poetry have, I mean, that's the reason I did the little thing at the Centennial in New York
Hmm.
that was the Poetics of
Wasn't that
Photography.
fun? Bill
It's a
and
lot
I
of
were out
fun.
in New York for the 100 years of Leica party at the meatpacking district, and they had a block party, and it was really great. And you had fun out there, didn't you? Wasn't
Yeah,
and it was supposed to rain all day, but it was
but it was
hot,
hot.
and
Yeah.
we were very
It
warm
rained at
out there.
night,
It
evidently.
did.
Yeah, I didn't go on the photo walk to see the ad on Times Square,
And
but
you got to meet Shannon. Shannon found you
yes,
on Instagram.
yes,
And my girlfriend Shannon styled his last photo shoot, right? Or maybe
yes.
not your last photo shoot, but
But
because you missed your flight with your, I think you were doing your last photo shoot that day
I
with your
actually
friend.
no, I would have gotten my flight except for my cab driver went to the wrong
I know,
airport.
I felt so bad, but I was glad because you could come to the artist talk and we
Yes,
got to spend
yes.
more time together. And that
Yeah.
was a nice day. Wasn't that nice there?
Yes, it was.
And I love that you got up and talked. It was so great. I did a artist talk at the Gansevoort Hotel where I curated some art with some various artists there, and it was with Terry LaRue, Cherise May, and Matthew
Mhm.
Bitone. And because Bill missed his plane because of the cab driver, it was the cab
Yes.
driver's fault. We're gonna stick with that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
what it was.
it
It
was the
was
cab driver's fault. But was that? But there was one of the airports was screwed up that day anyway, so maybe it worked out for the better.
yes,
One of the
yeah.
what was that the what
No,
happened?
they took
No.
me to the screwed up one. I was supposed to go out of JFK and
Oh my
and I
God.
looked at my Uber and it said at the top JFK and I never put in the Newark,
Ew.
EWE. And it's like, and I was kind of tired and I was like, looked up
It
and I
was a
was like,
long weekend.
why am I at this airport? So I had to tell the guy to turn around and go back and things like that. Contacted Uber.
I
They
know,
they
but
paid
I
me
was
back.
talking to Phil, and he said he saw you coming out of the elevator at 5 in the morning or so. No, you at 3 in the morning because your flight was at 5 in the morning. Like, who books a flight for someone at 5 in the morning? Did you have
I did not
I would
book
have
that
a
flight.
heart attack if someone put me on a 5 a.m. flight. I'm
I
like, not that I sleep in all day by
yeah,
any means, but
but
that's a bit
I
much.
accepted it because needed to get back to the
Oh
kids and
God.
like all this other stuff. But yeah, I should have taken like a later, and then I ended up taking a later flight anyway. So
No, but it worked out good.
yeah, it
So
was
now
fine.
tell us when we can look forward to Black and Gray magazine coming
So
back out.
we have a timeline that I hope is going on. Right now, I'm going through the arduous process of contacting all of the brands, all of the things to see who wants to help,
Yeah.
help invest in it and things like that. And it, I have a few really good artists to be in the magazine photographer wise, and I'm also working with a few other artists on the other visual art sense. My wife Emma has a studio. In her studio, there's a numerous like young artists that are like really, getting some
That's cool.
foothold. So I'm going to do an interview with one of them, a Canyon caster. I have, in photography wise, besides myself and Matt Mercury.
Mhm.
But we also have Matthew's going to do
Okay. Wait, there's a million
yeah,
photographers.
yeah. I also invited my friend Olivier Zalm of Purple
Mhm.
Fashion
Okay.
Magazine. He's the editor in chief, and it's been around for 30 years. And he offered to shoot, and I went, "Yep,
Yeah.
yes, let's
That's so
please do that."
great. Yeah, you should
Um,
put that story you did with Shannon in there.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
But
going to be definitely going to be online.
I love the
I want
styling.
to.
Those are great
She
photos. I
was
love the model. She's amazing, right?
yes, yes. You can. So you can is a Chinese model, and she actually extended her visa to stay.
That's
She was supposed
incredible.
to.
She was good.
Yeah, she was really good. And then, Shannon also brought in one of my favorite pieces. She liked the white piece, but one of my favorite pieces was an original Alexander McQueen dress from 1996.
Wow.
That one of her places she was able to pull from. And I thought it was perfect because what I wanted to do was something that was based on the history of the actual meatpacking
Mhm.
district.
Yeah.
Because when I used to go back to the meatpacking districts back in the 90s, and even before that in the 80s, when
It was
everyone
not
else
fun.
went,
That wasn't like how
that was not like that. No.
No.
So, and we also, and even talking with Mary Irene, we were talking about how like there's only like one or two meatpacking buildings left,
I love it there.
so yeah, I do too. So it was like mostly like, trans prostitutes
Mhm.
and punk and hip hop clubs right across
Mhm.
from one another. And I remember we used to have to climb through a fence to get to it. And this was before the High Line was like built there even. So
Did you
um
walk that?
yeah,
You know what? You
I
can't
walked a
really
little bit.
walk on that thing because there's so many
No,
people, you get no exercise. I
no,
can't walk somewhere and not
no.
walk. So is it expensive to do a magazine?
It can be.
How much do you need to start a magazine?
Well, I mean, depends on how you want to do it.
Mhm.
If you just do it direct, it can be as cheap as you want it to be. I like to throw parties.
Mhm.
I like to have a brand that are aligned to be aligned.
Mhm.
And I also like to give the brand something. Like we're also working with a group Paperwork that does all the street postering in 7 different cities, including Tokyo and New York and
Cool.
here and like all this other stuff. The white pasting. So I'm like I want to do an editorial that is nothing but on the streets, literally, and I want a street photographer to shoot it. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, my background in photography also, I've always. Yeah. I my only education in photography has been from two people that are considered either street or
Hmm.
documentary photographers, even though the majority of the work that I've done, or at least the work that you can look at, currently until a book comes out, is work that is considered more in the editorial fashion
Mhm.
tradition. But I use more of the street ethics than for everything.
Right.
And also the way that street shooters shoot, I mean, I'm fast,
Mhm.
moving through. I don't like poses. I like
Yeah.
people to be more fluid. But anyway,
Who's your
so
favorite street photographer besides yourself?
uh, it really depends.
Yeah.
It's like, and also I'm not sure if street photography like is a real thing,
I think
right?
it is because everybody wants to be one.
Yes, I know.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
the
I know.
new, I mean, not
But I
that
think that
new,
they
but
do a
everyone's
lot
like,
of
I'm a
different
street
things.
photographer. I'm
Well,
a street
I
photographer.
like a lot of I'll say this too. I think that in LA that we are very different than New York.
Mhm.
And I think that besides the Estevans and the whatever and going into the deep parts of East LA and
Yeah.
things like that, Winograd was here.
Yeah.
Winograd was shooting Venice,
Right.
the Beverly Hills. I was in downtown LA with Bruce Gilden.
I
You
know that's
know,
a funny story.
that is a funny story. And then, I mean, he likes to dance, I'll just say that. And Bruce is actually really great with everyone.
I
It's
love
like
Bruce Gilden, he's
he
hilarious.
he's amazing with people down there, and we were on Skid Row. And uh but I would say that like some of my favorite street photographers are actually Japanese.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I think I like the Provoke tradition, which was just the three magazines that happened between 1968 and 1971. There was a fourth and a fifth one, but it was more like a book. It
Mhm.
came from a poetics tradition,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So it was actually originally a poetry magazine, but they had photographs in there because they wanted to transcend words. It was provoking thought,
Right.
right? And they also were anti-advertising photos. They came up with the idea of arbor boke, which is blurry, grainy, and out of focus.
Mhm.
Um, they influenced people like Noburoshi Araki, who came from a commercial background, and that he continued that like kind of thing. I
Mhm.
mean, Araki himself came up with the idea. It was like, I wondered what would happen if I photographed every aspect of my life, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, yes, he's doing things that are more, erotic or weird, whatever, like shibari,
Mhm.
right? But shibari is a traditional art in
Right.
Japan.
Have you spent time there?
Actually, after our show in 2018, I went to Japan,
Yeah.
and the first two people that I met within the first 7 hours there, first one was a bunch of people from Wetzlar and
That's
the
funny.
president of Leica Japan at the Leica Ginza store,
Mm.
and then maybe about 2 hours later, I went to Daido Moriyama's gallery and met him by accident. In fact,
You met a lot of cool people.
the Japanese photographer that was there was like, he's never around. What, you know? And I was and I talked to him. Moriyama had a book called On the Road, which is a title after Kerouac.
Mhm.
So I'm
That's
like,
wild.
all these things are connected. This is when I did the thing in New York, it was poetics of photography, and I used maxims that Allen Ginsberg had given his MFA students in 1992 when I was there, 92 to 94, 91 to 94. And one of them was notice what you notice, and there was 84 of them. But he gave a lecture to the Harvard Photo School, and he said, I would tell photographers the same thing I tell my MFA students. Poetry and photography are both visual arts
Yeah.
in a way.
Are you having poetry in the magazine?
Yes. Well, yes and no. I'm having a lot more thought this time around because the magazines always had a title that was a subject.
Mhm.
And one was like Inferno, one was Satori, one was uh, less heady. This one is the simulation.
Mhm.
So what I want to do is I want to find the things that are in between. If AI exists, which I don't believe it's artificial nor intelligent, I believe it's very organic, and I believe it's been because it's been created by us.
Mhm.
And it's all of our knowledge that has been collected by the internet over the last 30 to 40 years. Is that all of the knowledge that exists for human beings? No. So I want to make sure that what we're doing is we're either making fun of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is easier to do
Yeah, and more fun.
and more fun,
Yeah.
or we're going in between the places, the negative space that is there, that is left over, that AI cannot touch. What is humanity? After all of it, what is humanity? If everything else is a simulation, and this came from a French philosopher, Jean Baudrillard, came to America, and in the 70s, I believe it was, and he drove through, and he was like, or Robert Frank, when he did The Americans, he drove through and he saw all of the pops of weirdness, which was at the time racism.
Mhm.
But Baudrillard looked through and he said, everything's fake. Remember that movie with the Jerry Lawler, the wrestler? It was called Them, or like
No.
where he puts on glasses and he looks up at signs and they all say like buy
Oh
me, and like,
god.
and things like that. I mean, I think that that's
So is this gonna be like a little bit of a magazine taking the piss out of AI? I
sort of,
I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah. I want it, I mean, and I want
It
everything
is
to be
kinda awful. I
real.
think it's just not good,
N
you know? Not good.
I think it's in it would be it is a great thing if it's used for how
I
it's
won't
supposed to
lie,
be
I've used it
used.
and it's helped certain things,
Absolutely.
but then
It's
you don't think about how you
it's
know,
a
it's
well,
kinda
it's a
not.
search it's a great search engine,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, when I rewrite stuff with it, it's not how I speak.
No,
So that's what makes it, like,
no.
not
And
organic to
there's
me.
different ones that you can use that have like, that understand your voice. But do you want to train it to be you? No, I don't want to train it to be me.
No.
You know, I will use it to gather information because it's faster than Google.
Mhm.
But the reality is that like my brain just gave it information. My brain is making the connections. Oh, well, I like that. What about this? And then it goes, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it tries to like, coax you, pet you like like you're a dog, like, okay, good boy, give me more.
Mhm.
And it's like, so there's going to be a point to where we're going to get we're going to understand that there are these negative spaces, these places in between where AI can't touch, can't if photography is an art
Oh, and all
at all.
the AI photos are
Yes.
just awful.
Yeah. If photography is an art, we're the only art form where either the photographer or their camera have to be there. And AI cannot do that. AI is also not an artist because it cannot it can't write a poem. It can
Mhm.
write something based on other poems, but it cannot write a poem directly. It cannot think, it can only compute. So, what is it that humanity is? And this is what I've asked a bunch of philosophers, Chinese philosophers, some American comedians, and things like that. Which
It's the same.
I should actually ask Jeff. It's like tell me what you think like a human being is, and it's like I might get the wrong answer, but at least I'll get an
Yeah.
answer,
Yeah.
right? Remember that old movie? What they're aristocrats, where it's like all of the different comedians had to come up with this one
No, who's in
poem.
it?
Oh my God, everyone.
Jeez,
It's Stanhope, Joe Rogan, Johnny
oh,
Carson, God, the guy that just died recently that was
I don't
on.
know this movie.
Oh my gosh, well,
The
it's
guy that
horrible.
just died, who just died? That's awful.
He was on one of the shows from the it is like Full House or something like that.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew's friends with that guy,
Yeah.
right?
Well, his was the worst. So it's a joke
Yeah.
to where it's like you have to basically like tell the word like there's a talent agent and these people come up and they're like, we've got this great act, and it's like a family, and they're like, when circus performers, and they start describing what the act is, and it
Right.
gets more and more disgusting, and like just
What's it
gross.
called?
It's called the Aristocrats.
Okay, I wanna see it now.
Yeah.
Is it
So
funny?
it's funny, but
Yeah.
but it's also the comedians.
Dark.
It's dark
Dark.
because the comedians have to do this is like their rite of passage, it's like a so
Mhm.
I'm like, I want a rite of passage into humanity. I want someone to come into the magazine and do something that is no, yes, I have to have it paid for,
Right.
right? So I'm asking brands and I'm saying I have parties,
Mhm.
and it's like I have, it's like I used to have distribution through Ingram, so that meant that I was in Barnes and Noble and like all this other stuff, but they don't matter anymore.
There's hardly any magazines. There's
Yeah,
not that many
yeah,
magazines right now
yeah,
anyway, right?
they don't matter. So I want it to be so physical that like you have to come to the party to get the
Mhm.
copy of the magazine, and then it gets passed around from person to person,
Right.
or you have to get like a special edition, or you
Yeah.
see what I mean?
So unique. You want it to be original.
Yeah, I want it to be original.
Yeah.
And yes, we could make thousands and thousands of copies if we need to. Or
How many copies would you make of the Black and Gray magazine?
well, I used to make between 8,000 and 15,000,
Wow. That's a lot.
and we used to sell out.
How much were they selling for?
They were selling for between 12 and $15 then.
That's cool.
Now I have to do 50
Yeah, now the
or
magazine I was
100.
looking at yesterday is 30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's going to be a better, higher quality, of course. But at the time, that wasn't what I wanted to do. There were definitely magazines that did that, but I wanted to be able to get into more people's purview, more people's sight. I wanted more people to see it.
Mhm.
But now I realize that, like, sometimes the best way to do something like that is to make it exclusive, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I mean, since in the last like 12, 15 years that I've been around the Leica community, there have been more, I've seen more M's and SLs and Q's and things like that than I've ever thought that I would ever see before. And it's just because it's now become so much of a community, so much of an action towards like
Yeah,
photography.
it's kind of funny how the Leica brand is. It's like this club that everyone wants in on. You
Yeah,
know, that's what it
yeah,
kind of feels like.
yeah.
And I'm not a photographer. I think I'm the only one that is in that
Mhm.
building that's not a photographer. I'm not trying to be a photographer. I
Yeah,
love art. I sell art. I'm a curator and I love photography.
yes.
But I don't know, people are very obsessed with these cameras.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I mean, I've been
obsessed.
obsessed. I mean, I've been obsessed to the point to where I was like, at one point I had 7 M's
What do you
and
have
like,
now?
I have 3.
3?
I
That's
have 2.
a
I
lot.
have 2 M's, I have an SL. I still have my original Q. I got rid of a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Traded up,
It's
traded
crazy too because
in.
you could get your money back on these cameras. Like, it's
Yes.
not like that on any
Oh my,
other
oh my
camera.
gosh. My M7, which I kept forever, and I thought
Mhm.
whatever, but I'm like, I have an MA, and this is a reason I wanted to keep it was I wanted one that was just mine
Yeah.
instead of like an M2 or M1 or M3 or whatever that I had to buy and it went through so many different hands before me. But I
Yeah.
wanted one so that my whichever kid wants it,
Yeah.
you
Are
know.
any of the kids inclined to,
Yeah,
yeah, photography?
yeah, my
Okay.
Dorian has my M8
Uh-huh.
and has a like a CL from the 70s and
Okay.
with a 40
That's
millimeter.
cool.
So and shoots film. A lot of the kids are shooting film.
Yeah, I know it's popular.
Yeah,
It kind of is making a big comeback, isn't
it
it?
is. It is.
My show right now, Adelaide Shell, he only wants to shoot film.
It's still very dirty to
Yeah.
me. It's like I understand the drive towards it, and I
Mhm.
think that definitely technology has gotten
I think
better.
it's cool.
I think, but it's to me, it's really interesting to be able to, well, film just like this technology, where you know where it tracks the from the moment of capture. You
Mhm.
have an actual film thing, but also when you had Greg Fraser, right?
Mhm.
And they were talking about Dune. Now, he was originally a photographer before he became a cinematographer, and you can
Those are
tell,
beautiful
right?
photos.
Well, not only that, but like what they did with Dune is a more interesting process to me than like actually shooting film because I always said I would love to shoot more film, but I need the digital capture to be able to check it.
Right.
So what they did was is they took actually I think it was Leica Primes and they shot it digitally, the entire movie Dune, and then they transferred it to film, and then they scanned it back in, and then they graded it and they transferred it to film again.
Wow.
So it's like a very expensive process, but you can
Much.
do that now with still images. You can take a 60 megapixel photo and you can turn it into a negative from
Mhm.
a digital print up to 6 by 7, and then so then you have a physical copy negative that you can then print again and again and again
Wow.
that is based on that. Now, is that better or worse? Is film have more dynamic range or less dynamic range? You know, it's like I don't know, but I will say this: I shoot a lot of stuff at night.
Mhm.
I'm doing this one project called the Hollywood Cult, which is both the celebrities that have been around over the last like 10, 15 years in their best and worst,
Right.
and also the underground scenes with this emerging sort of queer culture that best way I can say it is the same place that Alexander McQueen came from. It's
Mm.
just sort of this party culture, but they're very different because it's run by women mostly,
Mhm.
or you know, people born as women or trans women,
Mhm.
and it changed the scene. It used to be that, like, say for instance, the fetish culture was run by a bunch of guys in kilts.
Yeah.
That's a joke because but it was true. In LA, it was a bunch of guys in kilts, and they would run the like the fetish world and things like that. And then, but there was always this scene coming from London that would come here twice a year. And that was the same scene that McQueen came out of, the same scene that a lot of the fashion stuff came out of. Um, and it finally influenced. and it
Yeah.
was very queer, very fun, a lot of drag queens. It's like
Dudes in kilts, and
yeah,
this is your new series you're working on right
yeah.
now?
With
And
serious,
so what time do you go out to shoot?
so I did a thing right before the pandemic. It was actually on the Leica blog in German, but not in English, called 3 a.m., 3 p.m. And I would just shoot until where I'd have one image at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m.
That's cool.
And then I started doing it to where I had like a 3 a.m. and that was it. So I'm going
Okay.
out from like wait until Ona goes to sleep, and
3
then
AM. God, I don't think I could ever.
3, 4, 6
That's
a.m. and
that's
things like that. And I'm out with people, and this is sometimes it's pitch darkness,
yeah, that's
and the only
spooky.
and I can't really shoot film like that. I have to
Mhm.
have a digital. If it were not for if it
Where do
were
you go?
there's a few different underground places, and then if I told you, I'd probably have to, like, erase the tape.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They're
some of the stuff
okay.
is
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. I'll have to ask you off camera.
Yes, some of
Now,
the
what now? You and I kind of ended up at some crazy things together for whatever reason, like
yes,
the place in that we were in Vegas.
yes,
That was years before Leica. I mean, it
yes,
wasn't. I don't even think my son was born yet.
yeah,
I want to say no.
no,
I don't think
no, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
you weren't married.
No,
I didn't have my son. So that's over 21 years
yes,
ago.
there's,
And then we you just so happened to be walking up the stairs when Chris Stein from Blondie needed a camera. And then we ended up getting to go to the list of the Blondie listening
yep,
party together.
yep.
And then we got to go to Hunter Biden's show at Milk
Oh my
Studio.
god, that was so weird
So
because you
random.
didn't even
No, I
know.
didn't even know
You
we were
you
just going to Milk for something.
you thought
And
it was Milk's son, not
yeah.
the Milk's president's son,
Yeah,
not the
I know,
president's
I
son.
thought
Yeah.
when they said it's the president's son show, I thought they were, yeah, that's what I thought. I know, whatever. But that was so fun. So,
I ended up getting interviewed by CBS for going to that
oh yeah,
show.
then you got to hang out with Shepherd Ferry after that.
Yeah, Shepherd
So, I
Fairey.
know, and I was so tired, I had to go home, but you
Yeah,
were probably getting ready to go out and shoot at 3 a.m. Well, Bill, it has been a pleasure. I could talk to you forever.
of course.
But how can we see your art? And your website is
BillBrown.com, just one L.
1L.
Yeah, and also at Bill Brown, BIL Brown at all of the social media.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean, evidently, I guess I'm going to Chicago for
Okay.
like a Palooza,
I love that.
and they want to have a show.
When is that?
July.
Wow, like a palooza.
Like a Palooza, it's the Tamarind camera there.
Okay.
I guess
Oh, to
like
Mark and
To Markin,
yeah,
yeah.
they're opening up a space there too, I think.
Yeah, it's a small room, evidently.
Oh, Dan Tamarkin, I love him.
Yeah,
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And your beautiful family is waiting outside, and we're
yes.
gonna have them in here in a minute. But thank you so much for listening and tuning in to the Paris Chung Show. Thank you to my team, and we'll see you next time. Do something nice for yourself today. It's the Paris Chung Show. It's the Paris Chung Show, show. It's the Paris Chung Show. It's the Paris Chung Show.